Hi, I'm Mike Sargent, and this is Arise on Screen.
We want all of it. Oh my God!
Jake Gyllenhaal abandons his usual good-looking leading man roles for a turn as a sleazy videographer who prowls the LA crime scenes in search of the money shot in Nightcrawler.
Who are you?
I'm your husband, Ben.
Nicole Kidman stars as a woman who wakes up every day with no memory of the day before, but she's still haunted by her past and all the people in it until one day, things change. Colin Firth and Mark Strong also star in the psychological thriller Before I Go to Sleep.
How do I look? Did you notice anything unusual?
Am I not?
In the new horror thriller, Horns, Daniel Radcliffe has a devil of a problem. When he's accused of murdering his girlfriend, he becomes the town pariah. Will the former Harry Potter's magical horns save him from a witch hunt? Witches, zombies, and more. We'll look at the most controversial horror films of all time in our special Halloween edition of Arise on Screen.
Hi, I'm Mike Sargent, and welcome to Arise on Screen, your global home for films both on screen and behind the scenes. Let's get to it. First, with this week's box office winners. John Wick tops the box office this week, followed by Fury, Gone Girl, Ouija, and St. Vincent rounds it out in the number 5 spot. And in movie news,
the new 3-hour comedy, Happy New Year, has broken all opening night records for any Indian film, including the recent record-breaking action film, Bang Bang. Happy New Year, a choreographed musical love story, revolves around an Indian diamond thief who plans a heist at a high-end Dubai resort during a dance contest. Think Ocean's 11 meets Dancing with the Stars. To date, Marvel Studios has released 10 films and made over $7 billion worldwide.
If it sounds good and it feels good, then it's musical.
This week, in casting news, the iconic comic brand announced that Get On Up star Chadwick Boseman will play the Black Panther, Marvel's first African-American superhero, in a standalone role. Boseman's news comes after it was revealed that Benedict Cumberbatch, starring in the upcoming The Imitation Game, is Marvel's new Doctor Strange, a neurosurgeon turned sorcerer supreme and protector of the Earth.
Captain America needs my help. When do we start?
We just did.
From casting to Oscar news, could Marvel Studios be the first to nab an Oscar for a comic book movie? Co-directors Anthony and Joe Russo, who are behind Captain America: The Winter Soldier, think their film has the chops to compete. The brothers make a good case to Deadline.com as to why their storytelling and the film's storyline stands on its own outside of its comic book merits. Is this movie Oscar-worthy? How would you vote? And finally, in the first Iranian vampire western ever made, moviegoers land in an Iranian ghost town called Bad City, filled with misfits from the underbelly, prostitutes, pimps, and junkies, where a lonely female vampire finds her prey. Debut filmmaker Anna Lily Amarpour tells her story in black and white and mixes genres including spaghetti westerns and horror. When gunslingers and vamps meet, all hell breaks loose.
and in festival news, the Royal African Society's annual film festival began last week in London. The annual festival runs for 10 days and puts a spotlight on 80 of the best African narrative films and documentaries across the continent. The 3-year-old festival includes professional workshops, master classes, school screenings, and Q&A discussions with film directors. The event, which is open to families, will also feature Film Africa Live music nights. The film festival runs from October 31st through November 9th. It's the Halloween weekend, and we're continuing the fun today. I'm joined by two scary film critics, Justine Aphrodite Browning, and Julian Roman, mega critic of MovieWeb.com. And welcome, both of you. And before we get to our movies, I have to ask you, Marvel's just announced the casting of Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. What do you think of that? And would you have chosen him? You, Julian?
That's fantastic casting. I mean, Boseman is a tremendous actor. I mean, 42, get on up. The guy's very versatile, very physical. There really isn't anything he can't do. It's going to make him even a bigger star than he is right now.
You think so?
I think so.
He's the perfect one to cast.
Well, he's not African. I know that's where you're going to go with this.
I think they should have cast Demon Hunsu.
But he's an actor. But he's acting.
Yeah, but he's an African. I think T'Challa, which is Black Panther's real name, should be an African. Now, what do you think?
I trust their decision. I mean, they're usually pretty on the money with casting. Even when people deem it risky, I think they always get it right. Well,
I think he'll be good, but he wouldn't have been who I chose. But we'll see when the movie comes out. So, we'll be back to talk more movies here on Rise on Screen.
If it bleeds, it leads. It's Jake Gyllenhaal as you've never seen him before, a Los Angeles thief who discovers the fortune in selling crime video in Nightcrawler, next here on Arise on Screen.
And we will, at the right time.
But I don't know what to.
Next right.
Good, stupid!
Repeat the police. I will never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Excuse me, I have something you'll be very excited about.
You have a good eye. I want you to contact me when you have something.
Something like this.
Think of our newscast as a screaming woman running down the street with her throat cut.
You will be seeing me again.
In the new thriller, Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal stars as a 21st century sociopath who crawls the late night streets of LA looking for grisly crimes to sell to a local TV network.
I think we've created Lou Bloom, you know, that he is a creation of the American dream, that we are all told about this conventional idea of what success is, and he will do anything for it.
I like this movie quite a bit, actually. I was surprised. I'd heard a lot of good things about it, and I heard his performance was, but it's not hyperbole. He does give, in my opinion, an Oscar-worthy performance. Now, Justine, you agree. You thought he was really good.
Absolutely. What this film captures is our obsession with seeing crimes happening to a certain group of people from certain backgrounds. You know, ever since we watched the high-speed O.J. Simpson chase and the subsequent trial that followed, there's been sort of an obsession with this. There's a whole network, the ID channel. You know, there's shows like 48 Hours Mysteries, Dateline, Nancy Grace, these shows that really capture that and feed into our obsession with.
Well, I agree with you. Film definitely has a lot to say about the immorality of news and what makes the front page and what's going to sell. And I also thought that this, though, takes a page from some other sociopathic characters like Taxi Driver, because he basically is a sociopath driving around at night. But Julian, you didn't feel so much that it really pulls from those. Well,
I mean, you can draw a comparison. They're both kind of like crazy guys running around at night. But I mean, Taxi Driver is obviously a classic film. I agree with you. I mean, Nightcrawler is an amazing movie. Gyllenhaal will be recognized. He might even win for it. It's definitely his darkest role. You know, I guess, you know, going on what Justine just said, I mean, basically it talks about, you know, the moribund fascination for titillating savagery. That's what I call it. You know, people love the blood, they love the guts, they love that clip of the screaming woman, you know, the fire and so on and so forth. And in the 24-hour news cycle, this is what, you know, people want to see, and the movie captures it beautifully. I mean, Gyllenhaal is fantastic here, directed by Dan Gilroy, who wrote the Bourne Legacy.
Right, Rene Russo's husband.
And it's a really, really great film, one of the best films of the year.
Well, you know, it's funny because I thought it's been compared, you know, Taxi Driver meets Network, which I think is an apt comparison.
Good analogy.
Because I think Rene Russo's character has just as much to say about this in terms of what the movie's trying to say as Jake Gyllenhaal. He's ruthless. He doesn't care. He's going to make it.
But in a post-recession world, you kind of almost get these characters, even though they're doing outrageous things, you
buy them
understand
completely.
it.
You believe that they exist.
Well, he gets a little bit too crazy. I mean, he really crosses the line, but you know what? Kind of like Hannibal Lecter, you root for him. You know, there's
true.
something about this Bloom character where he's completely insane, but in a sense he's not like, wow, you know, I don't want him to succeed. You kind of do want him to succeed.
Can't stop watching him. It's riveting. Yeah.
No. I found the film riveting, and I thought his performance, and I thought the ending, which I won't give away, I thought was perfect.
An incredible ending.
I thought it was a pitch
spot
perfect
on.
ending.
One of the best of the year, I would say.
Definitely. All right, well, our next film is a film called Before I Go to Sleep. It stars Nicole Kidman with Colin Firth and Mark Strong. She plays Christine Lucas, a woman who, after suffering a trauma, goes to sleep every night, and her mind erases everything from the day before. She's haunted by past memories. She slowly begins to unravel a dark secret that makes her trust no one.
Who are you?
I'm your husband, Ben. You had a bad accident. You store up information for a day. When you wake up in the morning, it's all gone.
Now, you see, I have to say, I think I like this movie a little more than all of you did. I felt it really fell apart in the third act, and I thought that the casting of Mark Strong and Colin Firth, I won't give it away, but the casting of them gives away the movie, any of the main surprises. But I did like how, for a while, you're not sure who did what. But you, on the other hand, Julian, you thought it was just bad from opening scene.
Well, it's not god awful. It's not the worst film ever made, right? I'll be honest with you. It's got a few things that you find interesting, but I think it's kind of fairly obvious from the beginning who the quote-unquote villain is. And there's another film called Memento, which is basically
another great film.
Yeah, what this film is like. You know, the person who has no short-term memory, who wakes up and forgets everything. And to compare these two films, it's like, you know, oil and water. They're not even in the same category. And in this film, you have to really willingly suspend disbelief. I mean, there are plot holes you can drive a truck through. You know, there are things that make no sense at all. It kind of you know, lends itself to being a little bit too incredible, to be honest with you.
Incredible, I would say it lends itself to being not credible enough. That's what I would say.
I wanted Nicole Kidman's character's condition after I saw this movie. I wanted to wake up and forget it happened.
You had seen it, I understand.
Someone needs to sit down with Colin Firth and her agent, because these are internationally recognized Oscar winners.
Well, she wanted to do this because she did the Railway Man with him, and she really wanted to work with him again.
But I don't know why they're choosing these projects. So many of their projects over the last few years have been really lackluster.
I think I know why she chose this.
But the thing is, her character is this scared bunny the whole movie. You know what I mean? She's this damsel in distress. You can't really root for her. You can't identify with her. And then there's this glorified violence against women in the film. It's just atrocious.
I can't really defend it. I really do feel it fell apart in the third act. I thought that Nicole Kidman's performance was wasted. I thought, as a matter of fact, there are three great actors who I think could have done much better material than this. But I think she did this. I think that the whole female revenge thing, I think ever since Farrah Fawcett did The Burning Bed, and it gave her respect, I mean, there are a number of actresses who have done these type of movies, and
just a lot of wasted potential. I think that's what makes it worse.
I agree with you.
But hey, Colin Firth is dreamy. We all think that, right?
No.
He's so dreamy. If you like looking at Colin Firth,
well, there's a lot of Colin
see
Firth
this movie.
Well, we're going to be back to talk more movies here on Arise on Screen.
Up next.
What are they?
You know how I think we should proceed? I should grind me up some OxyContin and have a little snort.
Daniel Radcliffe trades in his wand for a pair of horns in the new horror thriller, Horns. We sit down with the former Harry Potter star and his co-star, Juno Temple, next here on Arise on Screen.
Made a new friend.